what some of the biggest takeaways that you will take from this season? Maybe not even necessarily just as an athlete, but as a person as well.
I think if you want to do this sport at that level now, you have to take it seriously. It's the first thing, the actual physical side and the mental side. Like, if you're working a full-time job, um, and you're trying to give that 100%, you can't give 100% to being an athlete. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, you have to set your priorities into the right order in order to be successful. You can definitely still be successful, but depends on what you deem successful. If you want to get to the CrossFit Games, I don't think you can do that anymore. I think you got to maybe work a couple of hours a week, and everything else is just focus on eating, sleeping, and training. Um, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned as a there are probably two things I've learned as a person. I think the first one was that I was absolutely shitting myself, packing a bag and upping and leaving for potentially up to, at that time, 4 months. I'd never really done that before. I've gone to university, but I always knew I was coming back to Hong Kong straight away. But with like the quarantine and the COVID stuff all happening in Hong Kong, there was a lot of unknown about when I'd be back and when I'd see my family, friends, and girlfriend again. And yeah, that was very scary. I felt a lot of guilt doing that, but I also know that I had a lot of support from back home, and that was invaluable to me for making my decision and allowing me to do that. And I've had a great time, and I'm super grateful and thankful to those people who just told me to just fucking do it. Like, just go and take the opportunity. You don't want to look back in a year's, 10 years, 20 years time and be like, fuck, I wish I went to Dubai and I wish I did that. I wish I actually took the opportunity. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And, I guess just knowing that I have that support system around me was amazing. Um, but I think the second thing I learned as a person was that um, I kind of I'd fallen away from my Hong Kong circle a little bit. I'd left, by the end of the trip, when if things still matter, but by the time I knew that essentially my season was over and like I needed to stop focusing on competing, I'd realized that actually, I'd probably not burnt bridges, but I'd probably upset a few people in Hong Kong, whether it's my family, my girlfriend, you as my brother, and then I guess my boss as well, colleagues, people I'd just kind of fallen out of touch with. I just realized that my communication had been a bit poor, and I'd almost fallen into like a second life over in Dubai, which was, it was great. The guys over in Dubai are all good people, and I had a great time and made some really good friends out there. But I also realized that I should not have neglected, the people who initially set me on this journey. And that was quite a hard week of some conversations that were very challenging at the time. Conversations with my parents, our parents, conversations with you, conversations with Tammy. A lot of things were said that I didn't really want to hear, but I needed to hear it. A lot of things were said which I didn't realize because, again, like I didn't have anyone to really soundboard them off, or it's not something that crossed my mind until someone's like, hey, like, this is the shit you've been doing. You need to realize that maybe it's not the right thing to do, or do you think it's the right thing to do? And I'd say, no, I don't think that's right. And like, well, why the fuck are you doing it, sort of thing. So yeah, like having to hear that from people who you care about and who you love is definitely challenging and tough. And I had a hard week of that, and sleep was definitely affected. And even doing that sort of stuff, I could feel myself just being frustrated at myself and being frustrated at struggling to communicate with those people from my end. So like a lot of that fell on my shoulders, and yeah, that was a tough week. But I've been able to hear those people out, and they've been kind enough to listen to my side of things as well and see where I'm from, and I guess kind of forgive me to an extent to allow me to move forward. So yeah, those are my wins and my losses, I guess, as a person being out here, and obviously the athlete side of things is a bit different. But yeah.
So what is this? And thank you for sharing all of that, and I really appreciate it. And I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate the vulnerability of the challenges. And I think it's you pursue this journey your priorities changed. But I guess the biggest thing is like, you've got to still remember the other things that are important to you and how you can balance it all. That's always just the hardest part of what we're trying to do in life, is just trying to find balance between the things that are important to us.